This is John from Ilium Works, and these are our handlebar risers, part number 30-500 for the 2014 and up water-cooled R1200RT. These handlebar risers bring the handlebars up and back an inch and 5/8 from their stock position, following the original angle of the lower casting on the stock handlebars. They're made from anodized aluminum. All the hardware is stainless steel, and you do not have to change any of the cables or hoses. There's adequate slack for full movement right and left. Hi, this is John from Ilium Works, and today I'm going to demonstrate our handlebar removal tool for the 2014 and up water-cooled RT. First thing we're going to do is remove the master cylinder and lever. It's the same for the brake or the clutch. Use a T30 Torx Okay, next we're going to remove the bolt from the end of the handlebar. It takes a T50 Torx. It's in there with a medium strength blue Loctite, so it takes a fair amount of force to break it loose and then to wind it out here. Okay, now we're going to assemble the lower half of the tool, and you'll notice this raised ridge here goes inside the ring, that's the slot that's available in the casting of the handlebar. I'm going to go around the black portion here. We're going to want to tighten these up so they don't shift. This tool should still be free to move. Okay, now we're going to install the bolt, the 10 millimeter by 80 millimeter bolt into the end of the handlebar for pushing the bar end out. We put some grease in the top of the hex before we send it to you. If there's no grease in there, make sure you put some in there, just a high quality grease that will lubricate it while it's working. We want to run the bolt in full engagement. Doesn't have to be tight at the bottom, but we just want to make sure we have the threads in all the way. Okay. Okay, now we're going to put the top half of the tool on there. Here again, making sure there's some grease on the nub that goes into the end of the bolt. Back that out a little bit. You'd like these long bolts to go in about 9 or 10 turns, so they're fully engaged in the threads there. Now you want to make sure when you tighten up these screws, they just have to be hand tight, but you'd like to make sure that these two blocks are parallel to one another and the bolts are tightened up evenly. Now this thing's going to rotate a little bit when you tighten this, the big bolt here, so we're going to put a piece of corrugated cardboard between the bolt and the handlebar casting. Okay, and now we're just going to start applying pressure with this bolt, and it will apply a good deal of pressure, so just take your time and see that it's moving the handlebar out nice and smoothly. And there'll be some resistance most all of the way out. Getting a little easier here towards the end. Okay. Remove the 10mm bolt from the end here. Slippery a sec. Pull the handlebar the rest of the way out. Okay. Okay, now we're going to assemble the actual bar back assembly. First we're going to slide the outer link on and the spreader tube, and slide the 8mm bolt in through the bottom portion. Now we're going to slide this in, taking the top end and roll the angle spacer around until it's at an appropriate angle where it lines up with that. Put the 10mm bolt in, get it started. And then you can start the 8mm bolt on the bottom. Okay, now that you have all the pieces in place, we're going to roll this bar back around till it follows the angle of the lower portion of the casting. Then we'll snug these bolts up, but we're not going to torque them all the way yet. We just want them so that the handlebar assembly won't move. Just tighten that up hand tight. Now that we have the bottom bolt snugged up so this isn't wiggling around, we're going to pull out the top screw and apply some blue medium strength thread locker. onto the threads. Run that in just finger tight. Just pull the bottom bolt out now. And apply thread locker to the threads. Okay, now that you have everything in its preliminary orientation, check to make sure the cables and the wires are not pinched on the back. And you have your brake and clutch levers oriented in the proper orientation. And we're going to tighten these up. We'll start with the breaker bar just to snug them up, and then we'll use the torque wrench to finish them off. Now for the lower 8mm bolt, we're going to torque this to 17 foot-pounds. We'll tighten the 10mm bolt on top, and the appropriate torque for that is 33 foot-pounds. Okay, now that you have your bar backs installed, it's important that you take the bike off of the work stand and turn the handlebars full lock right and left, checking all the cables and hoses to make sure you're not pinching or yanking on them. If all that checks out, go out for a test ride. After the first 100 miles or so, check both of these bolts to make sure they're tight, and you're on your way.